not enough. Ever since Kenny switched sides, there are more kids that want to go with PS4 on Black Friday.
That goddamn traitor. You know why Kenny's doing this, right? Because he wanted to be a princess and I wouldn't let him.
Before Democrats and Republicans, there was a bigger, more important divide among the population. Xbox or PlayStation. They were more than just overpriced boxes. They were badges of honor that were defended to the death in YouTube comment sections. And at the center of the console wars, exclusives. Gears of War versus Uncharted, Forza versus Gran Turismo, or Halo versus literally anything. These games did more than just sell consoles, they defined them. And for decades, the console wars raged on. But in 2025, everything changed. So, who won? To understand how we got here, we have to remember why exclusives even mattered in the first place. Because you'd be silly to look at franchises like Halo and Gran Turismo and view them as just games. In truth, they're financial powerhouses. Titles that not only sway players to choose one console over the other, but would even evolve into massive brands. In both instances that I just mentioned, TV shows or movies were created based on the original video games, both with their own merch and accessories.
But here, we've got a controller that is inspired by the Master Chief.
I mean, obviously you can see the green in his armor and the gold.
Yeah, the gold that you see here that matches his visor, and that's carried through on the triggers as well.
The money-making opportunities are there, which is something that can't be said about the consoles themselves. It's been a long-known fact that video game consoles have been selling at a loss for a while now. Companies hope to recoup those losses with software and subscription services. That's where the real profit's at. Getting inside a customer's home is the largest hurdle that Sony and Microsoft face. But when comparing the price or the specs of the console, there usually isn't enough of a difference for potential customers to get swayed one way or the other. I mean, let's be honest, if console players really cared about specs, then they'd probably build their own PC. Console exclusives made players pick sides, and served as a crucial way to ensure a healthy console lifecycle. Having less players with your system meant having less players you were able to play with, which also meant less people were talking about your console. The importance of console exclusives came at a time when crossplay wasn't a thing. If your friends had PS3 and you had Xbox 360 and you wanted to play some Modern Warfare 2, well then tough luck. All it took were a handful of people from a friend group to get swayed one way or another, and that could mean the rest would follow suit. Even if they don't particularly care about any of the exclusives, they would just follow along with what their friends did.
Quick poll, PS4 or Xbox One? Raj?
Xbox One.
Penny?
Huh?
Leonard?
PS4.
Wallowitz?
Both great.
Bernadette?
I like the Wii.
This whole model hinged on a big assumption, that consoles and their ecosystems would remain exclusive, and that friends would be separated by platform. All it took was for those assumptions to get challenged, and everything would start to crumble. The mainstream adoption of crossplay changed everything. Despite having been around for a while, it was hardly ever utilized. Final Fantasy XI allowed players on the PS2 to play with players on the PC way back in 2002, but it wasn't until Fortnite's release in 2018 that everything changed. But the late adoption of crossplay was never because of technological limits. It was always about the politics. Confidential documents would later show that Sony was very resistant to enabling crossplay on the PS4, only to eventually agree and even charge Epic Games for any of the revenue that they lost as a result of it. No joke, I could make a whole ass documentary on how Fortnite changed gaming as we know it. It showed everyone that no matter if you were on Xbox, PC, or PlayStation, the Switch, or even mobile, you could play with your friends. Finally, after decades, everyone could enjoy a game together. And I'll never forget the feeling of finally trying out crossplay for the first time, and loading up a match on my PS4 with my friends who had an Xbox and PC. I know now it's the norm, but back then it was an insane feeling. Competition breeds excellence. So naturally, in an effort to remain competitive with one of the most popular games ever made, other studios would need to introduce crossplay capability into their titles as well. This was the true turning point. This was the first time where large swaths of gamers didn't feel tied down to one console over another, because now, some of the most popular multiplayer titles could be played together. That only left single-player exclusives, which, don't get me wrong, still mattered to plenty of people. Games like The Last of Us, Horizon Zero Dawn, Spider-Man, Ratchet & Clank, and were still important titles to plenty of gamers. I think Sony came to the realization that they weren't going to convert any more fans from PC over to PlayStation. And when you view it from that lens, they were just leaving money on the table. So they expanded their market to PC as well. Think about it like this too. If there are more players playing your game, it makes the brand itself more valuable. By this point, Xbox was already porting over a lot of their first party titles over to PC. And with the rise of Game Pass, I'm sure a lot of gamers ended up switching over to PC and just ditching consoles altogether, since it meant that they could now play like 99% of the games. So now PC had basically everything, but that still meant that Xbox and PlayStation needed to focus on their own exclusives in order to remain competitive against each other. But that all changed Up until now, we've seen some of the most popular console exclusive franchises make their way over to PC, but 2025 was different. 2025 was the sole reason I'm making this video. This was the year that the console wars officially died. Now yes, technically Microsoft is no stranger to sharing with PlayStation. Microsoft's acquisition of Bethesda and Mojang are proof of that. Minecraft has been cross-platform since forever, and after the Bethesda acquisition in 2021, titles like Doom Eternal and Fallout 4 stayed multi-platform. But those never felt like Xbox franchises, since they were multi-platform to start. But when Microsoft announced that some of their most iconic franchises would be coming to PlayStation, it shocked the industry. We're talking Gears of War, Forza, and most shocking of all, Halo. Yeah, the face of Xbox, the franchise that built the original console's identity, arguably one of the best FPS franchises ever made. I don't know, just seeing the notification from the PlayStation YouTube channel about the next Halo, it didn't even feel real. And clearly I'm not the only one who felt this way. Imagine showing this to someone during Xbox 360 era, Halo on PlayStation. The war is definitely over. Chief on PlayStation is like seeing Sonic on Nintendo. 25 years. 25 years of war. Over in an instant. And of course, we got Halo on PlayStation before GTA 6. Like I said, these aren't just games. They're the core identity of Xbox. But make no mistake, this isn't just a friendly olive branch to Sony fans. For as much as people like to clown on Microsoft for having no games, this move is almost certainly part of a larger business strategy, something larger than the console wars. Because in 10 years, the conversation may not even be about consoles anymore. Let me know what you think that conversation will look like in the comments below. But we still haven't answered the most important question. So who won? Xbox? PlayStation? Right now, it looks like PlayStation's benefited more from the end of the console war, but the victor is only clear in hindsight. For the time being, I can confidently say this, gamers are the real winners here. More games accessible to more players is always a good thing, and I'm happy that large swaths of people will get to try out some of the best franchises ever made. These are truly good times, at least for now, because let's be real, Microsoft isn't just discovering empathy after decades in the business. Moves like this are always about setting up a bigger play, but for now, it's a W for players. Now throughout this whole video, I haven't talked about one company, and that's Nintendo. There's a reason why Nintendo's still able to sell their consoles and reach such high demands. And that's because they arguably have the best catalog of exclusives. Everyone also knows how stubborn they are when it comes to their IP, so I wouldn't expect to play Smash on your Series X in this lifetime. I mean, then again, I would have said the exact same thing about Halo and PlayStation 15 years ago. So what do I know? Still, there's no denying it. More games are becoming accessible to more players than ever before, and I for one am a huge fan of this. Despite owning a 360 back in the day, I surprisingly never played any of the Gears of War titles, so I'm more than excited to finally get to try it out on my PS5. So what do you think? Is the console war truly dead? Or will companies always find a way to keep us divided? Drop your take in the comments below. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay winning.